Hey everybody, it's Jennifer J. Welcome back. I haven't mentioned it, I think, in a couple of sessions. So I want to just remind you, if you're new to the channel, that you're going to want to go back and start at number 1. So if you're looking at it from your phone, up on the top toolbar, it'll say videos. And if you click on that, then it'll bring up all of the videos and you can start with number 1. At the very, very beginning, they're not necessarily listed in order, so you just have to look for part 1, part 2, but they're all there. So I hope you can find those. For those that have been keeping up though, today's is kind of long. I don't know if I'll get through it all or if we'll have to stop and maybe, finish it later. But if it is long, feel free to hit pause and come back to it later when you have time, because I know some of you like them to be pretty short, and others of you just don't mind at all. So today's is going to be called Hidden Glory, and it is from the Potter's House, but it's Touré Roberts. I hope I'm saying his name right because it's spelled a little differently, but he is one of the associate pastors there, I believe. He may have been a guest speaker. I'm not real clear on that, but it was very good, and it's out of Romans 8:18 through 22, and I'm going to go there real quick and read that. If you're looking for it in your Bible, you know how to get to John. I've told you that. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and then Romans. So if you can get to John, then it's just 2 books over. Acts and then Romans. And it's Romans chapter 8. I've never really told you, and some people may not know, you may have figured it out by now on your own, but when I talk about chapter and verse, you'll see it written like Romans, the number 8, and then a colon, and then the verse, like 18. So the first number is the chapter, and the second number is the verse. So the chapter in your Bible is going to be the big number, and then every sentence practically has a little tiny number beside it, and that's the verse. So I probably should have said that clear back in, volume 1, but I didn't. So I'm telling you now, if you're new to your Bible, that's how you find what that is. So Romans 8:18 through 22. And I am in the New King James. 8:18. For I considered that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pangs until now. That kind of packs a lot of stuff, doesn't it? And I don't think it's easy stuff, even for mature Christians. What I just read is like, huh? Like, let's read that again. What did that say? So we're going to kind of unpack it here, and don't want to lose my place, because let me just put a little marker. Sorry, a little marker in here because I don't want to lose Proverbs for later. But anyway, there is a book. Touré Roberts wrote a book, and it's called The Balance Book. You can find it at thebalancebook.com if you are interested in it. It's very good. But he's talking about in verse 18 where it says, For I considered that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So he's talking about the power is present with God, and we're going to meet, speak, and dwell in that power and step into the next dimension. And I've talked about that next dimension before, and how I realized that that's where God was taking me was, and probably each of us as we're growing, we're going into the next dimension, right? And for me personally, he's taking me, what feels like to me, because it's been so painful, it feels like a giant leap, like I'm stretching my leg out to take a step as long of a, step I can take, that it's really stretching me. And so I'm stepping into this new dimension. So when he said that right out of the gate, it really caught my attention. But he said it's going to be a radical core shaking encounter with God. And he said, there's a few points. He made 3 points, and he said, you'll have the ability to see in people things that they can't see in themselves, which I have been able to do. If you are to be effective, you have to love everyone. So there's no respecting of persons, right? Whether they're homeless, whether they live in a mansion, whether they're straight or whether they're gay, whether they're rich, whether they're poor, whether they're black, whether they're white. Everybody. Love everybody equally. And that can be a challenge too, you know, especially I know I was at Target recently, and there was, so I'm in Arizona, right? So in Tempe, there is a very large homeless population, very large. And apparently there's this one viaduct that a lot of homeless encampments are under. And it's very near the Target store. So the homeless community will come into the Target store, 1, for air conditioning, and 2, to use the bathroom and wash up. And so, you know, there's been people in there. I've been working there as a part-time job, trying to meet the cost of living in Arizona. And they'll come through your line to buy a water or something, and the smell is so horrendous. And, you know, they haven't had a shower in who knows how long, and it's hot in Phoenix in August. And so, you know, I just say that to say loving on everyone is not always easy, because just being near them is difficult. And not because they're not a worthy person to be around, but just because the stench is so awful. And so it's going to take some real girding up of my spirit, you know, to be able to minister to them, to not be repulsed by how they look or how they smell, and to recognize that they're just people too, and they're in a situation that they didn't ask for or hope for, and that they need to be given the same sort of respect and attention and love as everyone else. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, you have to be effective, and you have to love everyone. And there is a hidden glory in every human being that must be revealed. So there is glory in you. The glory is the unique, inherent attribute of God that empowers us with the grace to overcome and to make God known. So we each have that unique, inherent attribute, and we need to figure out how to get it out of us so that we can share it with others. So it has to be drawn out. So he said it's a divine enablement. God gives you his ability to do things that are beyond you, which certainly thus far in my journey, he's given me the ability to do things that are beyond me, because I don't know how I would have come to Arizona, had a place to live, survived. I have cried, but I have survived the homesickness and the loneliness and everything because of him. So you have to overcome everything. You have to be an overcomer so that he can manifest in you. And God pre-installs in each of us the benefits to win what is wearing you. So there's power in you for the trouble you're in. So I'm going to read that again, that God pre-installs in each of us what benefits us to win what is wearing you. So whatever is troubling you, whatever prayer requests you have given God, whatever anxiety, whatever worry, whatever it is, God has given us what we need to get through that. And the trick is to focus on his word and on him, and not focus on the problem. And so, let me see where I left off here. Yeah, so he said your journey begins at salvation. So if you aren't saved, please put a comment on the line and let me know, and I'd be happy to visit with you about that. If you have questions, or if you don't know what it means, or maybe you do know what it means, but you don't think it's necessary, whatever it is, I'd be happy to discuss that with you. But if you are saved, that's where your journey begins. And in Philippians 3, it says, forget what is behind and press toward what is ahead. And he said the things that hold you back are dead living. So we don't want to be the living dead, right? Forget what is behind and press toward what's ahead. And for me, it's forgetting my past for sure. I've got trauma in my past, and I've got to forget my past. But it's also, and I'm sorry, my notes are mixed up, so I've got to go find the rest of them. It's also what I left in Kansas, just forgetting, I'm obviously not going to forget my kids and grandkids and my family, but I can't focus on that, right? Because if I do, then I'm back at the knot in my stomach and I'm homesick and I can't do what I'm here to do. And not that I'm 100% clear on what I'm here to do yet. I have some ideas, but I can't focus on even figuring out what I'm here to do if I'm focusing on what I've left. And that sounds easy to do, but it is not. I miss my kids, and I miss my grandkids, and I miss my house, and I miss my dog, and I miss my bed, and I miss the train. I lived right by the train track, and I miss the train. I miss just having my own place, and having my own home, and making my own meals, and just everything. I just miss everything that I left in Kansas. And so if I sit and dwell on that, I can really work myself up into a lather. But I've got to press forward into what God's called me to do, because what I know is, and if you've been watching this from the beginning, you know too, the things he did to get me here were pretty incredible. And I couldn't make up the stuff that happened to get me here. And so I know that he sent me here. I know that. And if he sent me here, he's got a reason for me to be here. And so I'm certain Satan would love nothing more than for me to go running back home and not do whatever it is I have to do here. But whatever I have to do here needs done, or God wouldn't have sent me here. So I'm going to press forward. I'm going to do what I need to do. From there, so he's talking about not having distracted living. Distracted living can also be dead living. And so many of us have distracted living. How many of us are on Facebook or social media more than we should be? I know that I am. If we're distracted, that's just another tactic of the devil to keep us from doing what God really wants us to be doing. So we need to take a mental note and make a concerted effort to have a period of time during the day where you are going to put your phone down. Like, whether that's during meals, during prayer time, an hour in the middle of the afternoon, whatever it is, your phone needs to be put down and put away, and don't even look at it. Like, if it's an emergency, someone's going to find you. They're going to come get you. But I think it's so important to start training ourselves or retraining ourselves how to get off of that stuff some and not be on it so much. And I know a lot of us are putting out Bible verses or talking about our Christian walk, and some people have jobs where they're marketing and they're needing to put stuff on there. I put stuff on there because I know people are looking for both things, for my story but also for my job. And I know it's important to stay in front of people, but you can post that and then hop off. You don't have to post it and then stay on it for 30 minutes. And I think that's what gets us. So also, if you have a business page, I don't know if you know this, but if you have a business page on Facebook, you can go in and put in however many you want of posts, and you can put a time, date, and stamp on when you want it to go public. So if you need to post one an hour or whatever, you can just put them all in there and tell it what day and time to send it out, and you don't even have to be on there anymore. So I used to do that. I had a business page for a long time until it got hacked, and I kind of did away with it. I think it's still out there, but I don't do anything with it because it got hacked. So, but I know that you can do that. So that's important as well if you are using it for marketing, to have a business page and just preload those things. You don't have to be on there all the time. But he also said, fear and trauma constrains glory. So God's glory is going to be held back in your life if you're focused on your fear and not doing what he's called you to do, or if you're focused on the trauma. And most of us, not everybody, but most of us have trauma, some sort of trauma in our life. And if we focus on that, then God can't get the glory that he's put in us, that inherent glory to shine forth and do what he's called you to do in your life, or what he's purposed you to do, because we've got to get past that stuff. There's an assignment on your life, and he wants us to do whatever it takes to get that assignment completed. God is intentional. He gave us the seed of himself, which is his glory. And he calls it a treasure in earthen vessels. And so what that is his glory, and that's the treasure. And I need the treasure, but I have to navigate this earthen vessel to get it. So you have to navigate yourself to get to the glory, which is tough. And you think about, God was completely God, but he was also completely man. And so he had obviously the glory of God because he was God, but he was also man, and he had to navigate that too. He knows what we're going through. Obviously he did it very well, us not so much most of the time. But we have to do it, and that navigating takes skill, it takes practice, it takes prayer, it takes being in the Word, it takes being around other Christians, being in church. It takes doing it on purpose. It's not just going to happen by accident. It's not just going to happen because you prayed a couple of times. Like, you really have to make an effort. And so my timer did just go off, so I want to wrap up, and there's a lot more, you guys, so I will have to continue it. But he said, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter. He didn't say this, I apologize. This is Proverbs 25. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. So he said it's God's glory to hide it in you, and your glory to find what he hid. So he's hidden his glory in us, and we have to navigate ourselves to find it. If you don't put in the effort, it won't have value. You'll have to fast for it, pray for it, and search for it, and protect it. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to put a note where I'm stopping. And I think that's enough for today, because, and if you want to go back and read Proverbs 25, Proverbs is going to be in the Old Testament. If you open your Bible in half, you'll be in Psalms, unless you're like me and you sometimes get to Proverbs that way. But it's right next to, it's Psalms and then Proverbs, so you should be able to find it pretty quickly. But chapter 25, and it's in verse 2. But read verses 1 and 2 right there. And if you have a study Bible, you might even read the notes. But that is what he's talking about in searching out the matter and finding God's glory. And that's what we need to try and do this week. So we're going to pray and keep praying, knock and keep knocking, ask and keep asking, and really focus on God's hidden glory in your life, and how you can draw that out and figure out what that is, and how it manifests in your life. So drop me a note, let me know. Like I said, if you're not saved, let me know that. But if there's something God's doing in your life, I would love to hear about it, and let me know what I can do and how I can pray for you guys this week. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I think that should be popping up on your screen in a minute. So please click my picture in the blue shirt, just click on that and it'll take you to the subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell, you can hit to get notified when I post new episodes. And then if you have subscribed, but you haven't shared this in a while, if you would share it. I know on Facebook and Instagram, it won't, like, because it's a Google product, it's an opposing marketing thing, so it kind of hides it. You have to put it in your bio and then just say, hey, go to my bio, and there's a link that you can watch or something like that. If you want to do that for me, that'd be awesome. It's not really for me, it's all for him, and God knows who needs to see these and how he's going to use them in their life. So I will leave that up to him. But I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye-bye.